After going through an intense phase of learning in the WNBA league as a coach, Stephanie White returned to the Indiana Fever, and this avatar is much different from the one with which she left the team in 2016 as a coach. Also, now she's got the sensation of the league, Caitlin Clark, who might prove to be the best player that has played in the league. Stephanie entered into the league at its genesis. She was not there from the start, but the league was in its nascent stage at that time. Soon, in 2000, as expansion took place, the Indiana Fever franchise got into existence, and Stephanie joined as a player. Although Stephanie just played in 2004, she later grew to have developed an affinity for teaching sports due to her incredible insights when it came to matters of basketball. Over their time in the WNBA league, she applied those rules to the game while guiding collegiate and pro female basketball players. Soon, she was part of the Connecticut Suns and Indiana Fever's successful runs in the WNBA league. Stephanie White early life. Stephanie White was born on June 20th, 1977, in Kansas City, Missouri. She grew up in a sports center family. She developed a love for basketball early on, playing at the high school level before moving on to a standout collegiate career at Purdue University. At Purdue, White earned numerous accolades, including Big Ten Player of the Year and All-American honors. Her time as a student-athlete laid the foundation for her future in the WNBA. Stephanie White personal life. The narrative of Stephanie White, including her life experiences, is characterized by resilience, love, and transparency. Stephanie married Brent McCarty in 1998 and later divorced. She then had a relationship with Michelle Fletcher and went on to a relationship with sports journalist Lisa Salters. Stephanie has 3 sons, including Avery and Aiden, who are twins, who were born in approximately 2013. She sometimes reminisces about the sweet joys coupled with the headaches of being a parent while managing her career as a professional athlete. Living in Nashville, Tennessee, White relishes her time with her kids, sharing a very tight-knit familial environment. White exhibits a high degree of transparency about relationship interactions, which affords her a very obvious role model legitimacy in the LGBTQ+ sports space, and she has endorsed numerous initiatives around diversity and inclusion across sport. White may sometimes have coaching responsibilities so voluminous that they consume her life, but her familial situation is solid and mental health is a priority. Her story exemplifies professionalism and personal authenticity to a level of distinction and relevance in respect to meaning and inspiration for countless individuals outside of basketball and for those within. Stephanie White parents. Stephanie White's parents are Greg White and Susie White. Whatever ideas they instilled in her and her personal growth, they were also influential in her achievement as an athlete. Stephanie grew up in West Lebanon, Indiana. Greg and Susie allowed Stephanie to pursue her dreams, but reinforced that they had their back in her obligations. Greg and Susie's trip to meet their daughter was fueled at a young age. She had a crush on basketball and was drawn to competition. The foundation they laid gave way to the support they were giving her, in support of her developing her competitive nature. Greg and Susie took her to every practice, every game, and nourished that spirit and did it the fair way. They taught her to be humble and tenacious in life and in sport. Greg and Susie had a deeply family-oriented home that provided for her in might ways and allowed her to be a great student and athlete. Stephanie has expressed many times that her parents were critical in keeping her humble while she was advancing to elite stature as a national player in high school and eventually into her collegiate career at Purdue University as well. Greg and Susie simply believed in her ability, which, combined with their support, was a great conduit for Stephanie's confidence. Stephanie White partner. Stephanie White has a rich and dynamic narrative around relationships. After marrying her high school sweetheart, Brent McCarty, in 1998, which ultimately didn't last, and they divorced, she entered into a long relationship with Michelle Fletcher, with whom she raised her 3 children. In more recent years, Stephanie White's partner is Lisa Salters, a longtime sports journalist. They keep their personal lives fairly private, but their relationship is a clear example of White's honesty and the work she has done around LGBTQ+ representation in sport. White is unapologetically herself and has done an incredible job earning the respect of the LGBTQ+ community she is fully a part of. She has also served as a role model for countless young athletes, figuring out who they are. While White has values of family, love, and authenticity, her bravery beyond has empowered many people, both in sport and in everyday life. Stephanie White kids. Tiffany White, a mother of 3 boys, including twins Avery and Aiden, who were born in 2013, has been open about her responsibilities as a coach and leader in women's sports, but also honored her duty as a mother. While being a professional coach and mom might seem a clash, it is a battle she welcomes. Stephanie has talked about having the ability to be involved in her children's lives, tied to the demands of a coach's schedule and travel. Stephanie White's kids have been at practices and games, and she is grateful she can raise them with such strong examples of leadership, teamwork, and resiliency. Stephanie leads her parenting with patience, empathy, and honesty. She is respected for being honest about family life, especially in her role as a same-sex parent, which has been viewed as remarkable and progressive. As a leader in women's basketball, Stephanie White has been an advocate of work-life balance and being comfortable with parenting in the arena. Stephanie White net worth. Stephanie White's net worth is estimated and projected to be in the $3 to $5 million range during the 2025 season. White's income streams are derived from several segments, including her playing career in the WNBA and a long career as a college and professional basketball coach. Additionally, the sports broadcasting and analytical roles. The overall basis of White's coaching contracts, most notably with Vanderbilt University and the Connecticut Sun, generated substantial income for many years. White has also certainly generated income from speaking opportunities, brand marketing, and basketball-related opportunities. But now that White is more established, she'll advance in her profession, as well as ascend through levels of experience. She is under consideration as one of the top female coaches in sports, and again in professional sports. Despite the many definitions of wealth, White's wealth is generated from career performance. However, the mere salaries and coaching milestones where White has gained wealth include winning a championship, defining her career through service, and generating wealth through performance incentives. White's assets and net worth are reflective of her career as a player and head coach, and indeed reflective of being a trailblazer for women and LGBTQ+ in professional basketball. Stephanie White career. Stephanie White's historic track record in the game of women's basketball has consistently demonstrated success, leadership, and doing things differently as both a player and a coach. White began her prep years as a top Indiana high school player, played collegiately at Purdue University, leading the Boilermakers to a national championship in 1999, earning numerous national accolades, including the Wade Trophy, as well as Big Ten Player of the Year. Following Purdue, White went on to play professionally in the WNBA with the Charlotte Sting and Indiana Fever, while carving out a niche as a tough and dependable guard before retiring from the game in 2004. After retiring, White quickly transitioned into college coaching, with stints in the WNBA. White experienced a successful career journey at every level as an assistant, but most notably as a head coach of the Indiana Fever, Vanderbilt University, and most recently, the Connecticut Sun. In 2023, White won the WNBA Coach of the Year award after leading the Connecticut Sun not only to a stellar season, but also to a historic season. In 2025, White made the career decision to return to the Indiana Fever as head coach. White's career is a clear example of forever journey and a strong commitment to working the game and to supporting the young players who will ultimately be the next stars of our great game. Stephanie White high school career. Stephanie White is one of the most accomplished high school basketball players in Indiana state history. She played at Seeger High School in West Lebanon, and it didn't take long for her talent to show. By the time White was a senior, she averaged an incredible 36.9 points per game. Over her high school career, she totaled 2,869 points, one of the highest totals in Indiana history. Her brilliance as a player earned her national and state-level accolades, encapsulated by some of the following: Indiana Miss Basketball 1995, Gatorade National Player of the Year, USA Today National Player of the Year, and she was a McDonald's All-American and led deep state tournament runs with her team. Even though she scored a lot of points, the impact Stephanie had at Seeger went beyond scoring. She embodied outstanding leadership, work ethic, and sportsmanship. These traits eventually helped her in her college and coaching career. Stephanie's high school experience at Seeger paved the way for a legacy built on excellence that would follow her throughout her basketball and coaching career. Stephanie White college career. Stephanie White played collegiate basketball at Purdue University from 1995 to 1999 and made her mark in the program's history as one of the best all-time accomplishments in university history. As a guard forward, Stephanie scored over 2,182 points, led the team in numerous categories, including assists, steals, and just absurd contributing statistics. In her last season, she led Purdue to the NCAA championship while being named the most outstanding player of the Final Four. She was also named the Big Ten Player of the Year, won the Honda Sport Award for Best Collegiate Athlete in her sport, and won the Wade Trophy, yearly bestowed on the best collegiate women's basketball player in the nation. Her stats were not the only reason she was one of the best players. She also possessed leadership, basketball IQ, and competitive spirit. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in communications and was named an academic All-American. Stephanie's accomplishments at Purdue aided the national stature of the Purdue women's basketball program and played a role in her ultimate selection to the Purdue Athletics Hall of Fame. Stephanie White professional career. Stephanie White began her professional basketball career when she was selected in the 1999 WNBA draft by the Charlotte Sting. She played one season there before joining the Indiana Fever, where she spent 4 seasons. White was a reliable player, known for her shooting and playmaking, and averaged 5.9 points per game during her WNBA career. Unfortunately, a serious injury in 2002 limited her time on the court, and she officially retired in 2004. After retiring, she transitioned into coaching and broadcasting, quickly gaining attention for her strategic insight and communication skills. She worked as an assistant coach at several college programs and later with the Chicago Sky. Eventually, she became the head coach of the Indiana Fever, 2015 to 2016, then led the Vanderbilt University women's team, 2016 to 2021, and later coached the Connecticut Sun, earning WNBA Coach of the Year 2023. In 2025, she returned as head coach of the Indiana Fever. Stephanie White Awards and Achievements. Stephanie White has received many honors and accolades as a player and coach in basketball. As a high school player, she was Indiana Miss Basketball in 1995, along with Gatorade National Player of the Year and USA Today National Player of the Year. At Purdue, she won the Wade Trophy, won the Honda Sports Award, and was the leader when her team won a championship in the 1999 NCAA championship season. In addition to winning Big Ten Player of the Year, she was also an academic All-American. For Stephanie White, accolades continue to provide the perfect complement to her accomplishments as a professional coach. In 2012, Stephanie was on staff as an assistant with the Indiana Fever when they won the WNBA championship. In 2023, she was awarded WNBA Coach of the Year after leading the Connecticut Sun to a franchise record season, while also coaching the WNBA All-Star Game. In 2025, she won the Commissioner Cup title. Stephanie White has a legacy as a leader, innovator, and idol for future generations.